AI is great. And I use AI every single day in my business. And there are ways to leverage it and use it that can maximize your time. But I think one of the mistakes people are making is they think it's the end all, and people still need humans. Here's an example. How frustrating has it been for you over the years as we have seen AI take over phone calls when you're trying to call someplace and get something done? And AI takes over and you never get to talk to a person and you get the runaround. I think people are already tired of that. I think mistakes that companies are going to be making and maybe already are is they're putting too much stock in AI. And I think that's ultimately going to hurt their brand. It's going to hurt their business. People still want humans. They still want that human touch and that human connection.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another episode. With us today is Ann Carden. She is a CEO and consultant in Ann Carden Coaching and Consulting, helping with mostly the growth and the scaling aspect of business. We're so excited to have her on. Ann, how you doing today?
Hey, Chris, it's so great to be here with you. Thanks. I'm wonderful.
Absolutely. We always like to ask our entrepreneurs, tell us about your journey. What were you doing before that kind of led you into what you're doing today?
Well, I went the corporate route after I graduated from high school and went to college. Found out after a year college was not for me. So I switched it up and went to a business retail school and got into retail. Was in that for 13 years in corporate, working for $1 billion company. And I was managing multi-million-dollar departments. 13 years later, I had kids and I said, this is not the life I want for my kids. I do not want them raised in daycare. I don't want to be working, doing inventory until 1 o'clock in the morning and all the fun things that go with retail. My husband and I made a move back to the Midwest and I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. However, the math didn't work with his paycheck and we found ourselves really struggling financially. We'd spent everything we had to buy a home and we were outside of a small town. There wasn't much opportunity. Now, let's just time this. This was about 35 years and it went the internet. I was corrected dolls. I was my own designs. After about 7 years, I sold that. I got into the fitness industry. I built 2 health clubs, 2 weight loss centers, and then sold all of those and decided I have acquired some business skills here that could definitely help other people. And I have been consulting now for about coaching and consulting. I'm really more of a consultant than I am a coach, but helping people really grow and scale their businesses for about 15 years. So here we are.
That's fantastic. What an incredible journey. It sounds similar to many other entrepreneurs. What they had just wasn't cutting it anymore. They wanted a future, a legacy beyond just themselves. They had to get creative and do something different. And I just love hearing about the steps that it took to get there. And here you are today, helping businesses grow and scale. Are there certain industries or types of clients that you like to work with, or is it kind of a mixture of industries?
I've been working with over 80 different industries as a consultant, and I've worked with everything from plumbing companies to CPAs and attorneys. And it's mainly work with professional service providers. They're entrepreneurs, they're business owners. They might be running a marketing agency. They might be running a CPA firm, an architect and interior design firm, kind of the gamut still, but they're all in professional services.
Nice. That's awesome. Because I know it's a lot of the same foundational principles that can apply to many different industries, but there are some of those industry specific nuances that you get to learn, but those are just more fun, creative problems to solve.
Yes, the fundamentals are the same, right? You have to make money, you have to leverage your time, you have to build a team, all of the things that it takes to scale. But I had to learn all the online stuff about 15 years ago. I decided I was doing a lot of networking and speaking on stages, and I was running around to people's businesses. And I said, this is not the life I want. I came online and really probably about the last 8 years, maybe my entire business has been online except for speaking. I do still like to go out and speak to organizations and groups, but it's been a ride and there was a lot to learn online.
Absolutely. It's a never ending journey, I feel like, of learning and knowledge. What do you find is the most common mistake made across these businesses? Why are they stuck Why are they shrinking or not growing? What's that one piece that's missing?
I wouldn't say there's one piece. It's different in every business. But it almost always comes down to three things. Either they have a difficult business model, they have too much complexity in their business. One of the things that I help people do is play at a really premium level in their business. They're getting top dollar for their services. And we can talk more about that. But I learned the premium model 35 years ago. And I actually had my first $1 million offer 30 years ago. And I learned the premium model, and I have carried that through all of my businesses. And even when I was working with a plumbing company, we would move them to the top of their industries. They were getting the best customers, the best clients. And I've done that in every business I've worked in. The first thing I would say is a lot of people try to play at the bottom, which is a fast race, right? To the bottom. I teach people how to play in a premium level, and they really have to rise to that level. But it is anyone can do if they are willing to do the work and give good service and really do a good job. That's the first thing. The other thing I see is a lot of times they're not as profitable as they need to be, and they end up in cash flow problems. They end up in profitability problems. And again, sometimes this comes down to their business model and the way they've structured everything. They may have too many employees. They have too much money going out. We see this a lot with people doing paid ads and things like that. Too much money going out, not enough coming in. All of that has to be fixed. I've done tons of business turnarounds in every industry. It almost always comes down to money. But then the other side of that is business owners get stuck in their business, working in the business, and they're not working on the business. And I know everybody hears this and it's so cliche, but it's so true. If you don't take the time to spend, to innovate, to be creative, to grow your business, to be able to see what's really going on, your business is only going to get so far. And those are also the things that I discovered for myself building businesses. Those are the three main things.
I love that. Thank you. Because you're right. It's not just one thing in a business, but there are topics that need to be covered that the cash flow is important. If the product or offer is just too complex, all these things need to be considered because this is what the consumers see. This is the buyer's journey. What do they experience as they go through trying to purchase a product or service from you? But the fact that you bring that experience is fantastic. When it comes to today, AI, SEO, digital marketing, it's changing by the year and by the month now. What changes are you seeing now, or are a lot of the same founding principles that you have, are they still effective?
They are still effective because they're still foundational things. AI is great. And I use AI every single day in my business. And there are ways to leverage it and use it that can maximize your time. But I think one of the mistakes people are making is they think it's the end all, and people still need humans. Here's an example. How frustrating has it been for you over the years as we have seen AI take over phone calls when you're trying to call someplace and get something done? And AI takes over and you never get to talk to a person and you get the runaround. I think people are already tired of that. I think mistakes that companies are going to be making and maybe already are is they're putting too much stock in AI. And I think that's ultimately going to hurt their brand. It's going to hurt their business. People still want humans. They still want that human touch and that human connection. The other thing is, unless you take ChatGPT, for example, unless you are really an expert at your subject matter, you may not even be asking the right questions to get the output that you need. So, are you really getting what you need to be able to look like the expert or put out great content or whatever that is? I think people are putting a lot of energy and stock into it, but I think at the end of the day, we're going to see a shift that the companies and the business owners and the coaches and the consultants, the people that really are still in it for their clients, they want to do a great job, they run a good business, they're still going to rise to the top. I really believe that.
Absolutely. And now more than ever, the authority, having insight and knowledge, being
Yes.
helpful and more human is now more important than ever. And I think your offering ties in perfectly to that. And it's been shown to be successful in many other places. Can you tell me more about the books and the podcasts, the resources that you put out for other business owners?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, let me pull it. I actually just published my fourth book called Be the One They Choose. And it is all around the new rules for standing out and winning more business. And it's more about your visibility and your positioning and everything online. A lot of businesses are still not playing the online game and they're leaking money. They're missing business. Authority comes into that, being the expert. And even people that are online, many of them are still playing very small. They're really not stepping up to the level that they could be. And that's really what the book is all around. But I have 3 others, and then I also have my Expert in You magazine. I have a marketing and media company that is all around influence and authority marketing. We'll write people's books, we'll get them featured in the media, we'll launch a podcast. There's all kinds of things that we will do with done for you services. I actually have 2 businesses. I have that one as well.
Nice. That's awesome. I feel for many business owners, there's always another business that's in the works or comes along the way, or just even our own business, our product or offer changes as we find our product market fit. Sometimes we're not selling the right thing, or maybe it's not presented in the right way. So many different things in business that could be wrong. What were some of the things that didn't work out well for you and you had to pivot, you had to change in order to survive and then thrive?
I wouldn't say there's really anything that didn't work out. I'm always evolving. And even in all of my businesses, I was always looking to stay ahead of the curve and cutting edge. So even when I was running my fitness clubs, I was always doing research. What's coming down the pipeline? What are other people not doing? I was always comparing my business to everyone else so that I could always find ways to stand above the competition. And I still do that in my business today. I only really know a couple of other coaches that even have the kind of business doing what I do. And we all do it sort of in different ways and in different industries. And I rose above because I didn't want to play in the mainstream. I would say the real shifts that I made, not that they didn't work out, just that I wanted to evolve a different way. I mentioned when I came into the coaching and consulting space, I was running around to business owners, I was networking, all of that. And I made the decision I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted a mobile business with everything that we have available. I was like, I don't need to be doing this. I don't need to be in these people's businesses. I can do everything with them online. And I just made that decision and I pivoted and went completely online. For example, at that time, I was working with a lot of contractors, roofing companies, plumbing companies, small businesses. And if they thought that I needed to be in their business, they didn't become a client because that's not going to be my business model. I've had to set boundaries along the way. I wouldn't say that's pivoting, but have I passed up clients as a result? I have because I know what I wanted to do. And as far as I've added things that have evolved me, I can't really say something didn't work out because I always made it work out, if that makes sense.
Right. You just pivoted, you tried something a little bit different. And this is just a part of the journey in business and entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Um, but we take that experience from others, things that we've learned, we compile and create these resources for others. I wanted to ask more about what is in store for the future for you. We're about halfway through 2025. You have your now 4th book
Mm.
that's being released. What else is down the pipeline? Are you creating something new or exciting, or are you kind of just sticking with everything that's been working for you so far?
Actually, I'm doing a couple of really new, exciting things that I'll share. One of the things that I've been doing on a consistent basis is helping people get really high end clients. Over and over again, I started seeing that 50K was a sweet spot to help clients get those types of clients. And even though I help a lot of my clients get 6 figure, multi 6 figure clients, I found that 50K was a nice enough number that it attracted people that were going for those bigger engagements. And I'm putting together a program where I'm teaching people how to do that as a rinse and repeat offer. I call it an expert gateway. It can be a gateway to that 6 figure offer. It can be a brand new offer to create another 7 figure revenue stream. It can be up leveling what they're doing to start getting those 50K clients. I'm going all in on that. In fact, I'm partnering with somebody and we're adding that to what she does. And we have this really cool big program coming up. We're only taking 10 clients for it. It's going to be a 100K offer. And we're adding everything from the systems to helping them create their rinse and repeat 50K to 100K offer. And then we're also doing an event where we're going to do a photo shoot and really do some speaker reels and things like that. So it is a full business offer, and we're going to do it with them in 90 days. So it's going to be crazy. And it won't be for everyone, but it will be for people that want the fast track, because we're going to implement the systems for them. It's a component of doing it with them, but also there's going to be a lot of done for you. We're also going to rebrand them into luxury branding. They're literally in 90 days going to have everything they need. And they'll be selling before that. They'll be able to sell these offers before that. But in 90 days, they're going to have a 7-figure plus system. We're doing that. And then I also am going all in on the expert gateway, the 50K rinse and repeat offer for people that just want to work with me.
Wow, that is very exciting, both from your standpoint, but these other business owners who can get this fast track, just get the entire business, the luxury brand, the systems all laid out for you. It's created, but done with you, done for you,
Yeah.
blending all the hybrid together. That builds the perfect offer that you've been
Yeah.
cultivating over the years. It's putting it all together. That is very exciting.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I've helped people go from 0 to 7 figures in a year. And I've helped them do it with a 25K offer. I know a 50K offer is going to crush it for people. And my partner is brilliant at systems and doing all the marketing pieces and the funnels that they'll need and the branding. She does beautiful branding. We are the perfect team. And she's also in Dallas, which is where my son and my grandkids, I want to work in Dallas. I'm in the Midwest. And I think it's going to be the perfect partnership. We don't know if it's going to be something we're going to continue. We're launching this, and we're launching this for July and August. And then we'll see after that. This is the first time we're teaming up, but I just cannot imagine that this just won't explode. And I get that 100K is a lot of money, but we have funding available. And also we're looking for high level clients that we can get them really fast results. Those people are out there. We don't need very many, right? We're only taking 10. And I think it's going to just explode. And I just know what it will do for people. And they'll have their 100K back. I mean, legally, I can't say that. I'm putting a disclaimer here, but I've helped people close 50K clients in a week from just helping them restructure their offers and go out and reach out to somebody on LinkedIn that was in their networks. I'm not worried about people getting their money back at all.
That is wonderful. Because this is so enticing, I want to know, where can our audience find you and connect with you online?
Absolutely. You can reach out to me at LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm all over, but you can reach out to me at annlcarden.com. There, I have some free resources if you want to book a call, if you want to check out my books. I've got some training there. That is the best place. If you want my magazine, if you want to grab a free copy of my digital magazine, Expert in You, go to expertinyoumagazine.com.
Wonderful. And we'll have those links available down in the show notes and the description for everyone to get connected with Ann. I have a couple more questions here. I asked about 2025, everything you're putting together. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
I would say really start my business. It's never been easier. I just want to throw this out there for everyone listening. It has never in business than it is in the marketplace today. When I went global 35 years ago, I had to run ads in international magazines. They were expensive. And that's how that business went global, the old fashioned way. Now it's so easy for people to build businesses and get into business. But there's also a lot more to learn, which is why you need experts to help you fast track, because you don't have time to learn it all. I mean, so fast.
Absolutely. A lot of great opportunity out there. Now anyone can get started fairly easily, but it's that lack of direction and clarity and the knowledge to get there faster. They're going to hit a lot of speed bumps along the way, and partnering with you, that's their ticket to fast track and get the right results faster.
Oh, 100%. When I think about the businesses I've turned around that have been in business for years and they just were never doing much, and then turning them around in 30 or 40 days, it's so rewarding to see that. But they don't know what they don't know, and they can't see what they can't see. And to have someone come in and look at everything, it is a shortcut for people. It's speed. It's just speed.
Absolutely. Do you ever get any pushback from either the board or the owners where you're making your recommendations and suggestions and they're just fighting you or a little bit stubborn in the process? Or do they know where they're at?
I used to when I wasn't working with the right people, but now I'm very selective about the people that I work with. And not only do they have to don't even take on a client if I don't really truly believe I can blow them up. That's just the reality. And I don't get pushback because they're already convinced that they want to work with me when they come to me. And if I don't think I can help them, I don't take them on. I don't really get that anymore. They're buying my expertise and they're paying for my expertise. It would almost be silly to not take that advice. But just that being said, Chris, I do work to try to align what they're doing with what they want to do. It's not all about me and what I want them to do, but my expertise definitely comes into play to show them why this may or may not work. And I really guide them, but ultimately it's their business. And I always say this, it's your business, it's your money. This is my suggestion. This is my advice. This is the best guidance I can give you. And what you do with it is up to you. But I really don't have that anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I think over time you find the right fit and you learn when to say
Mhm.
no. And when you're not as desperate to just get any client just to get the sale, you can pick and choose who you work with. And then you find these pre-qualifying questions that you can weed them out and just know who's going to be the right fit right away. And then
Absolutely.
that's definitely saves you a lot of time and frustration when you're just doing your outreach and you're connecting and all the one-on-ones you have with your clients.
I don't have a volume business, so I don't work with 100 clients. I'm not put them all 100 people in a group, and I don't do any of that. That is not my model. It's not what I teach, and I stay aligned with what I teach. I teach people simplicity, not complexity. It's like play at the top of your game, get the most money you can from clients, and work with a handful of clients and make a lot of money. And that's my whole model. That's what I teach.
Well, that's music to my ears, and that all sounds wonderful to me. For those who are interested, make sure you check out the show notes and the description so you get connected with Ann here. Ann, is there anything we haven't chatted about that maybe you want to share with our audience? I wanted to just give you the opportunity to have a last word here.
I just want to kind of leave them with the thought, you don't have time to learn everything. Business is moving faster than it's ever been. And if you work with someone that has years of experience and they figured it out, you can't even imagine what can happen. So to sit there and still think you can do it all yourself or you'll figure it out, we're just kidding ourselves in the marketplace today because it's never been as easy as it's never been more difficult. There's more to learn, more to know now than there has ever been. And I want to just leave people with that thought because those are the people going away. In fact, it's really interesting. I was looking at some people on LinkedIn, not to get into another conversation here, but I was shocked today when I got into some of my LinkedIn contact, or actually, they had applied to be on my podcast a couple of years ago. And I was going back through the applications and I reached out to several people and they're not even doing their business anymore. I was blown away. And these are people that you would have thought were doing really great, but they're not even doing their business. That's what happens. And you get left behind. It's just too easy to get left behind. Those would be my final thoughts.
I love that. And it's important because we all have these great goals and ambition here, but we lack the clarity and direction. And as positive as we want to remain, these businesses can't last very long without the cash flow, without the right products, making the connections. It's all about getting the right yeses right away as soon as you can. So that way you can just build something that's worth scaling and growing.
Absolutely. And it takes money for either way, whether you are losing it because you're not making it, because there's a cost to not making money. There is a cost as you're sitting there trying to figure it out. It's costing your business, but there's also an investment if you want to have real success. I've never built a business and not invested money. And so for people to think that they can do that is, I would say, probably don't even start business because I don't think you can even do it today.
No,
Make a little bit of money, can't make a business.
absolutely. And I wish them all the best, but unfortunately, it's a competitive landscape that we're in. So if it's not them, it's going to be someone else.
Mm.
And be on the winning side if you can. Invest the money the right way first, because otherwise it just becomes an
Mhm.
opportunity cost. Not only are you out money, now you're out time, and you're not going to get that back.
Absolutely. Never. And I have a short runway at this point.
I think we all do. I think it's getting shorter each day.
We
It is.
never know either, do we? And that is the thing. I'm older and I realize and we see things happen every day that are that we can't explain. And people do think they have all the time in the world, but we really don't. And I know it's hard when you're young to think that way, but that's really the truth. And if you just kind of put that in perspective with business, again, you're going to get left behind anyway. You might as well just say, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to give it everything I've got. And in today's market, you don't even necessarily have to open a brick and mortar, right? I had to sign 6 and 7 year leases and do build out and all of those kinds of things. And I don't have to do that anymore, but I'm consistently investing back in. And a lot of times it is with mentors and it is with people that are further ahead than me. That's important. So people need to know that.
Absolutely. The changing landscape in business, like you said, brick and mortar isn't so much a thing. Things are digital. And even then, things are still changing. It's
Mhm.
important to stay on top, watch your competitors, see what they're doing, and just kind of take that experience, share it, and learn from others as well.
Absolutely.
Well, Ann, thank you so much for sharing your tips and tricks and your wisdom with us. So excited for your future endeavors and the next step offers you have. Very exciting. Make sure you check out the links in show notes below so you can get connected with Ann as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. It was fun.